So Nepal has erupted in fury. Streets are on fire. The crowds are defiant. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has been forced to resign, but the rage only continues to deepen. What began as a fight over the social media being taken off has turned into a full-blown revolt against the government. Right now, Nepal's army chief and the president are holding urgent talks to oversee the process for the formation of the next government in Kathmandu. The flames and smoke lit the skyline over Kathmandu. The homes of Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and several other senior ministers were set ablaze by the protesters. The government buildings were vandalized, cars were overturned, streets turned into battlefields. And watch how this mob, consisting primarily of youngsters, fought some pretty pitched battles with the police. Now, the administration has ordered for an indefinite curfew in Kathmandu. A curfew was also imposed in other cities as well, but the youth came out in some pretty big numbers in defiance. The WION Saloni Murarka has been tracking the story very closely for us. She reports from the heart of the action in Kathmandu. Take a look.
Protesters are surrounding the parliament area. They burned the tires. They burned the tires here right in front of the parliament building. And now stone pelting has just begun from both the sides. Police officials are guarding the premises of the parliament. They say that the rising corruption and widening inequality has tortured the civilians of the country, and that's why all the people and the young people, they leave the nation.
Now remember, about 19 of the protesters were killed, while more than 400 others were injured in clashes with the police yesterday. Amnesty International said that live ammunition was used against the protesters on Monday. The United Nations has demanded for a swift and a transparent probe. And this morning, the protesters' anger turned towards the government led by Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. The protesters set ablaze the residence of the Prime Minister. But it wasn't just KP Sharma's private house that was set on fire. The president's house also came under attack. It was completely vandalized. Properties of other politicians and government buildings were also targeted. Now, these are images of Nepal's parliament building, which was set ablaze earlier.
What began as a peaceful protest against the corruption and misgovernance has quickly turned violent. The main federal parliament of Nepal building is on fire. The entire building has been set on fire by these protesters. The property has been completely damaged. As you can see, this is the entire building. And these protesters, you can see here, are also celebrating the decision of the Prime Minister, KP Sharma Oli, to resign. He has submitted his papers to the President, resigning from his position, compelling him after he lost his support not only among the public, but also within his own government.
I am here to protest about the corruption. The country has gotten so bad that for us youths, there is no grounds for us to stay back in the country. We were here to participate in a peaceful rally to seek improvement in the country, but the police and administration decided to get violent and shoot first with tear gas and then with bullets.
We need to make sure that this government is removed by continuing to protest around the parliament. The young generation should get together to get rid of this leadership. This government is just criminal and worse than North Korea. We have never had a worse government than KP Oli's administration.
So as protests escalated nationwide, the Nepali army began evacuating the ministers from their residences in Bhaisepati using helicopters, while high-ranking officials are being provided security at the military barracks. On Monday late night, the government had removed the ban on social media, but on the streets, though, the chants no longer spoke just about free speech, but of the corruption, nepotism and a political elite accused of looting the country while the youth face unemployment and poverty. Now, the unrest is the worst that Nepal has witnessed in decades in the Himalayan nation that is wedged between India and China and has struggled with political instability and economic uncertainty since protests led to the abolition of monarchy back in 2008. All right, now joining us on the broadcast, we've got Mr. C.K. Lal, who's a Nepalese journalist and also a political columnist at the Kathmandu Post and Kantipur Daily. He's joining us live from Kathmandu. Mr. Lal, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on WION. Now, KP Sharma Oli has resigned from his position. The army chief and the president are having a meeting to decide the next course of action. But the fact that these widespread protests erupted and in a matter of 36 hours brought down the government of KP Sharma Oli, what do you think was actually at play here?
There are several factors. Actually, this ban on social media was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. There was misgovernance, corruption in high places of a very high magnitude. There was a perception that brokers were deciding who was to be the minister of which ministry. So there was frustration for youngsters, especially. There was no education because of misgovernance in the university, Trivandrum University, no jobs because no new investment. And after the dissolution of USAID and reduction of aid from Europeans, there used to be one attractive sector, NGO sector, that also closed. Opportunities for going out also almost stopped. Youngsters especially were seeing it was not just the question of future. They were seeing no place for themselves in the present setup. So they erupted without any plan, without any organization, and that's the reason it has become somewhat anarchic today. To quote that Lenin's famous phrase, nothing happens for centuries, and centuries happen over weeks. We could say that about this eruption.
All right, you're quoting Vladimir Lenin there, but the question is, how will the political setup in Nepal now change? Because the army chief and the president are putting their heads together to try and see as to what would be the next sort of a political government that can come into the picture in Kathmandu. What do you think happens to the future of KP Sharma Oli,
that's the biggest question of all.
and some of the others? What happens from here on?
That's the important question, because when there are uprisings, usually there are opposition parties in opposition that take the lead, take the responsibility. But in the post-2015 setup, after the controversial constitution was adopted in 2015, literally there is no opposition party in Nepal. Everyone is in the same bed in the high corruption. So political option doesn't appear on the horizon. One option could be Ravi Lamichhane, a populist who was, jail was broken to bring him out. And then another option is another populist, the mayor of Kathmandu municipality, Balen Saha, but they have very limited appeal. So that leaves probably the hand of Nepal Army, the only big institution left untouched by this anarchic protest. Otherwise, executive center, Singh Darbar attacked, Parliament arson was there, Supreme Court there was arson. So almost everything is in a disarray. Left untouched is Nepal army. And the second factor in Nepal is always very important are the geopolitical forces.
Right.
How they decide to try to put the house in order in Nepal. So these two factors are going to be decisive in the days to come.
I think you've summed it up really well there. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Lal, for joining us with that perspective from
Thank you for
Kathmandu.
the opportunity. Yes.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.